We will now consider H.R. 3854, the Small Business Financing and Investment Act of 2009, introduced by Representative Schroeder. This legislation is a comprehensive answer to small firms' capital needs. It carries them throughout the entire small business life cycle, from day one of the startup stage to the point at which they can compete with the Fortune 500. For small firms just getting off the ground, Representative Ellsworth crafted important improvements to the microloan program. In the past, that initiative has sparked growth in otherwise struggling communities. By reducing interest rates and providing more flexible credit terms, H.R. 3854 gives entrepreneurs greater control of their finances and empowers them to make new investments. Meanwhile, a move to pair traditional loans with technical training provides small firms with the information they need to be successful. At the same time, efforts to draw more lenders into the program will expand access to this vital source of funding. We often talk about the importance of welfare to work. Well, microloans put people to work through the power of entrepreneurship. If we're looking for policies that spur job growth, then this is the kind of program we should be supporting. Starting a new business is a resource-intensive process. But entrepreneurs' capital needs do not begin and end with the first business plan. Rather, they continue throughout all phases of development. For that reason, this bill expands SBA 504 program, delivering better financing options to middle market firms. To further bolster established companies, H.R. 3854 also extends successful Recovery Act measures, for example, fee exemption and loan guarantees. In doing so, it encourages greater lending from banks. This is key because many banks are concerned that they do not have the capital to resume lending in earnest until the middle of 2010. But as any entrepreneur will tell you, small businesses cannot afford to wait that long. They need capital for things like stocking their shelves and financing investments today, not 8 months from today. That is why Representative Halverson contributed policies to streamline SBA's 7A program. Her contributions deliver better funding options to veteran entrepreneurs, the men and women who have served our country so well and who are now helping to drive our economy. Meanwhile, we are improving 7A financing options, and in doing so in a way that mitigates risk to the taxpayer. I want to be clear, taxpayer protections are a top priority in this bill. It ramps up safeguards in a number of ways, including actions recommended by Representative Buchanan, which allow CDCs to liquidate defaulted loans. While the SBA is a critical resource for small firms' capital needs, there are cases in which its traditional loans are not enough. For these instances, Congress created a portfolio of investment initiatives. Through the contributions of Representative Luckmeyer, H.R. 3854 will enhance SBA's largest pool of equity capital, the Small Business Investment Company Program. It will do this by increasing the number and size of investment made. This increase could not come at a more critical time. In 2009, VC firms will invest $10 to $15 billion less than they did in 2008. That is an alarming trend, one that, if not reversed, will significantly hamper our recovery. By encouraging greater participation among successful SBICs, this bill can bridge the gap and get equity capital flowing to small businesses. Of all the contributions small firms make to our economy, innovation is one of the most important. That is why H.R. 3854 targets promising startups in fields like renewable energy. Through provisions introduced by Representative Kirkpatrick, we are steering investment to firms that focus on that area. In order to fill the void left by the now defunct Participating Securities Program, this bill creates a new pool of capital for early-stage firms. That provision, introduced by Representative Nye, will increase investment in the kind of high-growth startups that create new jobs. It is important to know, like many of the measures in this bill, The early stage capital program is governed by critical taxpayer safeguards. For example, it requires investment companies to match grant requests with capital from non-federal sources. SBA will also conduct audits of participating companies to ensure that grants are invested in a transparent fashion. Small businesses play a key role in all sectors of our economy, but they have a particularly strong track record in the tech industry. So I am pleased that this bill encourages small firms to invest in an innovative new product. By helping small medical practices afford health IT, it allows them to make yet another critical contribution to our economy, a streamlined healthcare system. At present, only 13% of single doctor practices use HIT. This is because the technology is extremely costly. For your average 3-doctor practice, implementation runs close to $100,000, a large sum for any small business. By helping small practices afford HIT, HR 3854 will encourage greater adoption and in turn reduce costs and minimize errors. These measures will not only improve the quality of our healthcare system, but will create jobs for entrepreneurs in the health IT and technology sector. It could not have come together without the work of Representative Dolkemper, and I'm grateful for her work in including this provision. HR 3854 ensures small firms have the financing they need to not only make new investment, but to weather any economic storm. Importantly, it also accounts for entrepreneurs in the event of a natural disaster. To address shortcomings in SBA disaster loan program, Representative Griffith introduced measures to establish regional working groups. Doing so will help SBA respond to the multitude of different challenges that could impact our country. HR 3854 also tailors assistance to fit the express needs of small firms following a disaster. When it comes to preparing for catastrophe, SBA's work is never done. This legislation will help the agency remain vigilant in protecting the small businesses that drive our economy. These are the businesses that, given the opportunity, will drive new growth for our economy and put Americans back to work. The fact that this bill has such broad support is testament to its importance. I am pleased to say that it's backed by a wide range of groups, almost close to 20. We have the National Restaurant Association, the American Society of Travel Agents, the International Franchise Association, Biotech, National Association of Credit Unions, the National Association of Investment Companies, the National Venture Capital Association, the American Dental Association, the American Institute of Architects, Air Conditioning Contractors of America, the Associated General Contractors of America, among others. This bill is about better choices for small businesses. It allows entrepreneurs to select the best possible funding options for their firms and will go a long way in empowering those businesses. But perhaps most importantly, it will help create and sustain 1.33 million jobs. I cannot imagine anyone who can argue with that number. HR 3854 is a bipartisan product, and I urge my colleagues to support its adoption. Are there any other members that wish to be recognized on HR 3854? Well, the committee now moves to consideration of HR 3854. The clerk will report the title of the bill.
To amend the Small Business Act and the Small Business Investment Act of 1958 to improve programs providing access to capital under such acts and for other purposes.
I ask unanimous consent that the bill in its entirety be open for amendments at this time. Does any member seek recognition for the purpose of offering an amendment? Seeing no amendments, the question is on reporting HR 3854. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. The ayes have it. The bill is adopted and reported. This concludes committee business for today. I ask unanimous consent that the